A month before the fair ended, the Second World War broke out, and the Duchess was stuck in America. There she stayed, being seen by an amazing 3 million visitors, until 1942, when the LMS decided to risk bringing her back on a midwinter transatlantic convoy. Luckily, she arrived safe and sound in Cardiff that February.
They needed it for the war effort, you know, that was difficult. They hadn't really got enough locos to keep all the traffic moving, the war traffic, so everything that they could find was more or less put into traffic.
I always imagine that trains were sort of restricted during the war.
Oh no, yeah. Enormous movements of materials and troops during the war.
From the ports, trains took the battle-weary men to the dispersal points. At the shortest possible notice, special trains were hurriedly assembled, and in the space of 8 days, 620 specials were run from 7 ports in the southeast of England.
The war was good for the railways, then?
Well,
good business.
Yeah, that nearly wore the railways out, actually.
Well, what happened when steam started being phased out and diesel came in?
Well, they gradually got displaced. They were put onto empty coach and stock trains and freight trains just to finish up their useful life.
And then when they died, they died.
That's right.
In the scrapyard.
Yeah.
Well, how come Duchesses survived then?
Well, that was just luck more than anything. Mr. Butland decided he would like some attractions at certain holiday camps, and this was one that was bought, along with Duchess of Sutherland.
Where did this one go?
Minehead. After quite a bit of time, somebody asked why are they in there and do Butland still want them? Wouldn't it be nice to have them in a museum? And after a period of a few years, that was agreed that Butlands would then release them.
So it actually still belongs to Butlands, then?
This
they
still
could get it back any time they
Butlands,
wanted?
yeah.
It's on loan, so any day they could take it back to the holiday camp?
Well, in theory, yes. Yeah.
How much did it cost to put this together again, when all the operations have been done on the abdomen and the guts?
Around about £40,000.
40,000. And how much did it cost to build in the first place?
11,300.
That's to build?
That's inflation.
What I'd never realised was just how full of steam a steam engine really is. Smoke may come out of the chimney, but everything else is steam, with no electricity to help at all. If you want sand on the line to help the wheels grip, you blow it out by steam. If you want more water in the boiler, you blow it in by steam. The Duchess has steam pipes the way we have blood vessels. Cut her, she'd bleed steam.
Well, I think I understand how it all works now, except for one thing. How do you actually start it?
Right, well, we'll show you, because we're now going to move off the shed in any case, so... you have to turn this handle on, that creates a brake. So as you can get the brakes on. Right. It's the first thing you have to make sure of. You can stop before you move. But, that's got to come around to 21 inches of mercury. We test it. We then take the engine tender handbrake off. Not really. Then we move this lever to whichever direction we want to go. In this case, backwards. And pull this lever, and that will move.
Magic, so it is.
It's gone far enough, this one stops it.
So, have you got anything more to do before the run tomorrow?
No, we're all ready for tomorrow now.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It means I have to get off.
Right, bye.
If anyone can be called a Duchess's best friend, it's Kim, who accompanies her everywhere with an oily rag, like a butler with a napkin. On the great day itself, Kim isn't actually allowed to drive the engine on a British rail line. Only full-time British rail drivers can do that. Not that there are many people left in British Rail who still know how. And it may be that one day we'll have lots of steam engines and no steam drivers. One thing we'll never run out of, though, is steam train enthusiasts. And for today's heavyweight contest between the Duchess of Hamilton and the settled Carlisle Railway, every seat has been booked in advance by enthusiasts, nostalgics, connoisseurs and experts. One of them is local historian and non-stop enthusiast Colin Speakman.
This is settled at the beginning of the line.
That's right. It was known as the Long Drag, of course, because the climb starts here, and it's something like 20-odd miles of continuous climb, a tremendous amount of work for locomotive men and their crews.
Especially the steam engine.
That's right, and the steam engine. Yeah. A little easier with diesel, obviously.
The reason the line is here is nothing to do with the desire of people in Settle to have a day out in Carlisle, or even vice versa. It's because the Midland Railway were desperate to get their own express main line to Scotland, and the only way they could drive it was over the mountains. Progress was so hard that they even petitioned Parliament to be allowed to give it up. Parliament refused permission, so the Midlands spent 5 long, horrible, dirty, cold years completing the line. And the worst bit, for the builders then, and the engine now, is the 15-mile long drag to the summit. Nobody knows quite how powerful the Duchess is, because they've never been able to shovel coal in fast enough to get her up to full power. It's not the train which reaches 100% output, it's the firemen. Even 2 firemen wouldn't be enough. The line was built by thousands of Irish navvies living in townships rather like gold rush towns, with their own shops, chapels, even tramways. It's odd to think that the Romans were here for hundreds of years and left hardly anything behind except Hadrian's Wall. The Irish were here for just 5 and left great monuments behind, bridges, tunnels, viaducts. The greatest of all is the Ribblehead Viaduct, now crumbling so much that passage across it is restricted to one line in the middle. The rise and fall of the Irish Empire, indeed.
People keep talking about Ribblehead Viaduct as if it was the big one. Is there something special about it?
Well, again, it's a long and very colourful history. Initially, of course, they simply wanted to fill in Batty Moss Bog and run it across the top. But they found it was quite impossible, so they hit upon a really rather brilliant engineering solution to build this enormous viaduct out of local sandstone and limestone